And I think if you're Viking here, what you do is you don't necessarily answer the Void as a carry or as an offlaner, but you answer the Void as a concept. So this Abaddon pick here, making sure that you have a shield
Only
and a
10
heal for whoever
seconds.
gets caught in the chrono, as well as just not dying if you get chronoed yourself,
5 seconds.
is pretty
Hurry,
useful.
hurry.
As well as, the Snapfire, he treats the Mortimer's Kisses like a nice healing bath. And it provides good support for whoever they want to use as their battering ram this game. Because that's when I think that Viking GG has traditionally looked the best. Is when they use Boom on an SF mid or on
Radiance
a Lina
ban.
mid, on a TA mid, as an early BKB builder who will literally come ramming down the doors of these towers. And an Abaddon is
Yeah,
very much empowering for that sort of playstyle.
definitely. And that's why the TA is a must-have ban in this game. A very, very contested hero
10
still.
seconds to pick.
Many teams don't want to leave it through. That would have been a pretty scary
5
weapon for
seconds
Viking if they
remain.
actually let Shad or Boom either play the Templar Assassin plus that Abaddon. That really is gonna
Radiant
1-2
team
pickoffs and you're losing more than one tower, like instantly.
Yep. And both of the bans here from Chicken Fighters, both the TA as well as the Wraith King, are pretty hard to kill in the chrono, especially the Wraith King just coming back is not very fun. Surprised at the Drow ban though. This is a
Only
Shad
10
special,
seconds.
but a bit of an older Shad special. And the Faceless Void Drow
5
matchup
seconds.
is
Hurry,
kind of
hurry.
50-50. It really depends on who's ahead. If the Drow packs more of a punch or if the Faceless Void can get on top of her. So surprised to see that banned out. But it might also be an indication that chicken fighters are still looking at a possible carry, and this is still an offlane void. If you want that TB, for example, it is still possible.
Yeah, they are drawing towards that direction. Plus, they would have the Metamorph with the Chronosphere. I think
Mm-hmm.
TB is still decent for Viking GG as well, even if the Faces Void Snapfire is going to be out there. The Chronosphere is like, okay, it's a major threat, but you have Abaddon, you have Lina for protection, so I kind of like it
Dire
on both
team
sides. Not that it's going
Mm-hmm.
to come out just quite yet. I like that Chicken Fighters are going to secure the Phoenix, despite the Lina being out there. This is kind of forcing more team fight attention. Plus, it's adding to the Wumbo combo that's already existing there on Chicken Fighters. You've got the Chrono and the Mortimers. Now you have an egg
10
as well,
seconds
so
to
you're
pick.
even stronger in your team fight. But is it a little bit too much? And
5 seconds
does it start
remain.
draining away from the other
Radiant team
aspects that we
now
already
pick.
mentioned at the start of the draft? Like,
Wait,
is the tad too much?
Oh, Viking are taking a page out of Chicken Fighters book. So this lineup from out of OG's book. So this lineup from Chicken Fighters is very hard to fight into right now. If you engage into it, you're going to get chronoed, you're going to
10
get egged. It
seconds
is
to
not going
pick.
to end well for you. But in order to play up, what you need is tower
5
siege,
seconds
and
remain.
you need the capability to stun people. And chicken fighters have none of that right now. This is not a lineup that's gonna go very fast. Vikings say fine. OG have the old alchemist as a backup strat, but they have played that alchemist too. It is not for nothing that Viking used to be known as the OG, 2.0, maybe
Yeah.
the rip-off version, maybe the sort of aspiring version.
Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. The Alchemist is definitely one core part of that. Someone could say meminess of a draft, but honestly, I don't think it's a meme. I think
Dire
it's a
team are now
Cheese.
really core essential
Cheese is the
part.
word you're looking for.
But there's like
Where
this
is it?
this is a
Nice.
more Chicken Fighters E type hero. We have the Razor pickup. This is gonna
Uh,
hinder this Alchemist down a little bit.
It's going to hinder the alchemist. It's also fantastic
Only
versus an
10
Abaddon because
seconds.
you're always going to get damage even if you don't get your primary target. It's like
5 seconds.
he's
Hurry,
a walking wall. He
hurry.
can't even keel over dead in order to stop the pain from coming. So that's great. And yeah, they're going to have to go for these kinds of core picks as a reaction now because normally what you'd want to pick up versus an alch is something like an AA, for example, but there's no space in the draft for that anymore. So
Dire's
excellent tempo
ban.
pick here as well. More damage into the chrono while also providing siege. And
Oh,
now Vikings show their hand.
right. This is a
That one's
scary
hard to
pick.
kill.
That's
Yeah.
hard to kill. Scary pick. There's nothing really against this Morphling, to be honest. Plus, this counts as the Razor. This is kind of making
Only 10
your Razors
seconds.
looking like a bad pick in this draft now because of the Morphling coming out.
5 seconds
I mean,
remain.
obviously, the laning stage can still pan out in any direction, to be honest, depending how chicken fighters are going to set up their lanes.
Mhm.
But when you're looking at a team fight aspect, you don't want to give Morphling any extra damage. If he keeps on changing himself to, one, either a Snapfire, stunning people around and getting extra kills, you can go into a Faceless Void, have extra mobility with your waveform, or you be a Razor. One, you suck out the enemy's damage. Two, you boost yourself, and plus you have a nasty passive which is going to allow you to move at crazy speeds. It's looking scary if this Morphling gets out of hand, because
Great
if you
pick.
let him have a good game, you can't catch this
10
guy.
seconds to pick.
Yep. Like, and I think the thing you were sort of working towards here is that all
5 seconds.
four of these
Hurry,
Chicken Fighters
hurry.
heroes need a bit of a longer fight.
Players
Most of his
banned.
damage is over time. They don't have the burst to take out the Morphling before he starts using all of their abilities against them.
Now
So
with
that's
the
going
last-
to have
yeah.
to come from the last pick. Yeah, so the Death Prophet gets taken out here. The AoE Silence would be extremely powerful here, both versus the Morph itself,
10 seconds to pick.
making sure that he can't get that Morph off, or versus like support troops like the
5
Abaddon,
seconds
who
remain.
are intrinsic for keeping this Morph alive during the
Radiant's
earlier
banned.
stages of the game. And then the PL, of course. So they're very much aware that this Faceless Void could potentially still end up on the offlane.
I'm also kind of weighing options for Viking. They had to play against an offlane Alchemist yesterday. Does Kezu feel like trying it out?
Only 10
Does he want to play
seconds.
Abaddon? Or are we going to see some other hero? Because they're banning Willow, so
5
they're targeting the
seconds.
pause 4
Hurry,
section,
hurry.
suspecting that Aramis's hero is not there yet. But there's options for Kezu here. If he wants to try something new, something different here, game 1 would be the place to do it.
Yep, I completely agree.
At least in
It's
safe
Star
terms.
Team pick.
in safe terms, yeah. I would like to see it on the offlane most likely, with still any kind of battering ram on mid. Basically, I do
Radiant
really
team
want
pick.
Boom to have a game in this lane. And Void Spirit, well, this could also still be Kezu. We don't know anything just yet, and they're gonna wait for Chicken Fighters to grab their hero here, and possibly also for the the players to grab their heroes before they do it themselves. We might see a little bit of waiting around the
10
player
seconds
picking
to pick.
stage here. I love that little game at the end.
Yeah, it's
5
like, all right,
seconds.
we've got the
Hurry,
drafts here.
hurry.
Now who plays what? It's kind of like leaves a little bit into the air, filling in the gaps. Though, 30 seconds time for Chicken Fighters with the last pick. Looking at the ban sector, obviously PL was banned before the Lion. If it were the other way around, that would have been a very how to say it?
Bit of a shot in the dark.
A shot in dark, yes, in this order. But it makes a lot of sense that if it would have been the other way around. However, what do they want to fill in with their carry/mid sector? Or
Choose
not.
your hero.
So
Or
let's
not.
mix things up a little bit. So we have Razor and Void for sure as cores. It's going to be a carry Void this time. And Kezu with the Alchemist offlane. So yeah, this is the OG Vol 2. This is exactly that. They've got the offlane Alchemist to mix up things a little bit, try something different. Maybe it works out. And an offlane ET. Holy smokes.
Offlane ET
Offlane
is very,
ET.
very exciting to me. 'Cause this guy packs a punch, but you need to walk that line very carefully because you're great at pushing out waves, you're great at reactive play. What you need is your other cores to go in, which is not very natural for an offlaner normally. So they're going to need to really play around this Charlie Faceless Void.
Only
Supreme
10
needs to
seconds.
overposition from time to time and get reactions so that the rest of his team can back him up. A
5
lot of this is
seconds
about trust.
remain.
And then Shibe can come in with the ult, come in with like a big, the damage of 4 heroes on his big stapler. I'm kind of sad he doesn't have the hand. That would have been pretty amazing to see. And he'll come wading in to punch people, but afterwards, ET is not a hero that goes in. So let's see if Chicken Fighters can make that adjustment to how an offlaner normally plays.
Let's see if they
then
can.
over on the other side, yeah, we have this is very much a Viking OG hybrid draft. I'm very curious to
is.
see how much they learned from OG yesterday.
Kips, on a school grade of 0 to 10, how cool are our offlane picks in this game number 1?
This is solid 8.
I'm thinking 8
8.5.
as well. It's kind of cool having a little bit of difference here. Obviously, the Alchemist offlane is not out of the woods, and same thing with ET. But once you get them both in the same game, it's like, yeah, there's not that many games when you actually get both of them in the pause 3 role.
Hmm.
So something different and something cool, and obviously looking forward to game 1 a lot.
Well, luckily we don't have to wait very long. Here we go.
Here we go, indeed. The first game of this best of 3 series in the lower bracket. Elimination once again upon one of these two teams. Viking GG or Chicken Fighters will continue or go out. But luckily, it's game number 1. So we still have room for some drama, for some story. And of course, me, T-Panda, and Kips here to deliver as much as we can. Charlie needs a reset for FPS fix. Okay, maybe there's... Charlie's been playing too much Dota in the early morning. He's got some memory leak going on.
Oh, very possible. Dota's still in beta after all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Oh my...
I wish we could get a different joke, but the game's still not fixed, so...
I actually had a discussion with a friend of mine who does some coding, and I kind of got a logical answer to why Dota is still in beta, why the folder says beta. Because if you change the folder name, it might screw up all the paths everywhere, so it's going to destroy more. So better to just leave it in beta to recognize that, yeah, it's an unfinished product here and there, but it's playable. It's playable. I mean, this is the 10th World Championship, for God's sake, but, you know, you gotta have something. You gotta have something to talk about.
I mean, I agree with it in part. It's just like, it would be a lot of extra busy work to just change the name of a folder. And let's face it, if you change the name of the folder because you can't deal with a couple of jokes, then something's wrong in your priorities as a game developer already. Just develop games. It does look like I immediately caster cursed this though. I was like, yeah, we don't have to wait very long, and then pause. Maybe I can just get it out of the way right now. And I won't curse anymore. I used it all up.
Well, as we wait for Charlie to return, guess we could take a quick glimpse at starting items. Nothing too special here, I believe. Lina with a Sage's Mask, bit of extra mana regen, able to trade a little bit more. Outside of the ordinary, nothing really. Pexu with the smoke, Zelda with the smoke. So maybe a little clash. I've got a feeling that we've got the classic dire rotation to over here. We might see a battle around this area. Man, my arm is shaky here in the morning. It's not a, it's supposed to be a circle, but yeah, Kips will take over. Thank you. Kips has much better circles than I do. So if we look at this area where she just drew a circle, most likely over here on the choke point of the cliff might be a clashing point. Sadly, we can't draw while we're paused, but I'm suspecting the mid ward will be dropped around this area, and then we have the secondary somewhere around those two X's there. Just prediction play at this point. But I'm hoping for an actual 5v5. You don't really get 5v5 smoke fights early on in EU.
Not really. I mean, there's a possibility that Viking will take that position and Chicken Fighters will take the fight, just because Chicken Fighters have the way stronger level 1 fight here. If Shibe gets a nice spirit over on 5 of Viking's heroes, they're all clumped up on that high ground, you can walk up. You can use the Razor Static Link in order to get some huge damage out as well. So it is a possibility that Chicken Fighters would take that one. Saying, alright, you call in our bluff, we can do this. You're not strong level 1.
I wonder what Kazu is going to buy as starting items for Alchemist. Still empty inventory for now. Gonna be in a hurry.
Yeah, like, the thing that I said about, you know, Jibe over on that Elder Titan definitely also goes for Kazu. But I think Kazu has always been a little bit more of a strategical player. He's not very big on going in. I think historically he has been a little bit hesitant. And you can see that on heroes like Centaur and stuff, where Kazu doesn't always seem that comfortable. So this is probably a little bit more up his alley, but at the same time, it does also mean that for the side of Vikings, well, a lot of pressure is on Boom to make this game happen. Now, Viking is very comfortable with this, because that's usually how they play. But an Alk still, pulling it off without any practice. I just took a sneaky peek at what Kezu has been playing in pubs, and the Alk's not on there.
Hmm.
They're doing this pretty much on the fly. Of course, okay, I don't know what they've scrimmed. Disclaimer, even if I knew, would not be
Yes,
telling you.
exactly. Scrims are a world of secrets.
They're
We're
sacred.
not supposed to know about those. But true, good point. Are they just living it off the fly? Have they been
Burns,
observing
doesn't it?
and recapping on yesterday's series,
Oh,
taking
absolutely.
something about the OG series and how Seb plays? Because they did have to play a pretty nasty game. I did watch it partially. The thing with Drow getting an Aghanims around the 15-minute marker
Once
and having
again,
12,000
video
net
games.
worth.
It's actually an insane farming item.
So it's like you get gifted an Ags and you're like, okay. And Drow with Ags is going to benefit even more farming potentially. Plus, that's just like nuts.
So the axe that we're going to be looking for here is most likely for the Void Spirit. And the problem here is that this is not a farming item. This is conditional. It's a huge power spike for Boom, but it only lasts so long, and he will have to go in order to use it. And that's pretty dangerous versus his very powerfully reactive lineup of chicken fighters. So I have seen this one where you use it for the Void Spirit fall flat on its face a couple of times already.
Yep. Celery is going to spot the gank train arriving by chicken fighters. So as we did our map drawing shenanigans, hoping that maybe we'll see some rotations towards the Radiant side of the jungle, it's actually a mirror move here from chicken fighters. Though
30 seconds
their
to
ward's been
battle.
spotted, they don't know about Celery's ward, but they will know as soon as that ward gets dewarded. So they know that this is free money just looming in the air. Either they let it stay and they deward it later for money, or just get rid of it right away and deny their own ward at the same.
Yeah, I'm just looking at these wards here from chicken fighters, and they are so ready to contest any stacks that might appear in this jungle. And they have Elder Titan. They have no need to let this alchemist get away with any sort of stack farming in there. But they're going to keep an eye on that, and you bet your bottom dollar they will go and contest if those stacks do appear. And if those stacks don't appear, then Kezu is taking space that could be used by other heroes. This is one of the problems with the alchemist. It needs a lot of farm, nonetheless.
And so we have our laning stage rolling out. We have the Void Spirit versus the Razor in mid. We have Boom and Supreme competing for this. Doesn't really get much damage out on the first link. This is a bit difficult for the Void Spirit at the start, because even if you jump out of vision on your second spell, you're basically still giving damage until you break the distance. So you're technically still there, even though you're not. Which is a Razor benefit. Just like building a Yules on Razor. Even if the hero is untargetable, if you're in range, you're still sapping damage away and buffing yourself. So that's something to keep in mind, that especially when you have those 4 points. And I believe there was still a talent. Yeah, the level 15 talent, if you decide to pick up the damage steal instead of the strength, that +5 can end up hurting quite a lot. Especially if it hits on a hero like Alchemist Lina or even the Morphling.
What I've seen in the past is actually Void Spirit mostly skipping out on the Dissimulate. I see that Boom does take it here, but often the other strategy that you see is them actually just taking the Aether Remnant, and as soon as they get linked up, hitting a Remnant on the Void before walking away so that they don't get chased out and they can break it more easily. As well as making sure that they last it with the Resonant Pulse while their damage is sapped.
Razor is definitely a difficult hero to try and outrun.
Consider an alternative.
So far though, Boom doing excellent on the CS.
He is doing great. He's doing absolutely great. Important to get that early CS. Don't fall behind on XP. Experience is really what really matters there for the Void Spirit. At least to hit that early levels. Especially getting to 6. And once again, are we going to see rotations kick on early or not? Charlie taking a bit of a beating here from Aramis and Kezu though.
Yeah, so the Lina is very much necessary in this bottom lane to keep the pressure up. You're going to see this lane push very hard. Kezu and Aramis are going to put Charlie under the tower most of the time. They have no way to push the wave back. And then here, exactly what Kezu is doing.
My gratitude.
This camp has already been blocked. Actually, no, that one doesn't block. Does it? It's a block. But they didn't get it off before the
Yeah,
marker, it seems. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's a interesting one.
But it's very necessary in order for Charlie and Pexu to keep on playing their lane here.
Yep,
Otherwise, all you're going to see is the push-pull of the lane completely controlled by Aramis and Kezu.
Shad already pumping up one level of Adaptive Strike. Skipping waveform for now. Guess it looks like he wants to keep on, well, not necessarily spamming, but at least secure range creeps with it. Plus a bit of harass onto Shibe. This is a kind of a brawl-heavy lane in a sense. If the Morphling starts playing passive, that's your downfall.
Yep, exactly. He's the one with the punching power in this lane. The Abaddon is not really going to do anything for him except enable him, so he's the one that has to play up. And as you can see here, if Era is allowed to keep this positioning, then there's no good way for Shad to get close to the wave.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Boom with 0 right-click damage right now, but in bottom, they do get the stun on Pexu. Got 100 HP, does have 2 Fairy Fires. Doesn't have to use it, uses stick charges to survive the Dragon Slave. Lives for now, no first blood yet. But as we're closing up on more action runes into mid, well, we still have our water runes spawning in a few seconds. Outside of that, I don't think we're going to see too much rotating towards mid. Maybe the mids are going to rotate elsewhere. That was a huge dynamic that changed, was the 4-minute action rune turning into the water runes. Because it meant that side laners have to kind of babysit a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, more like side lane supports can babysit for longer now, because the 4-minute rune doesn't make or break the mid lane anymore. Which was a bit of unfair RNG, honestly, in my opinion. It was kind of unnecessary, so I'm very happy to see that that changed. I did not like that bit one bit.
No bits for Kips. While looking at the top lane, bit of pressure here, Tibe. Every time he throws in that spirit, it's gonna buff him up by almost at least 50 to 100 damage every time. They're going for a tiny bit of a dive here. Just most importantly, focusing on denying creeps. Not really able to deny any of them here. Good job by Shad and Celery securing all those last hits. Abaddon hits level 3. And both mid laners are closing up on that level 6. So need to keep an eye open on the minimap if there's going to be any movements happening on either side.
Both of them would like to make a reactive kind of rotation here. Neither of them particularly good at creating the situation in the first place.
Nice pull block by Pexu. Might die though.
Yeah. He might die for it, yeah. I think he as well as I are both very surprised that that sentry doesn't actually block. You heard me doubt about that, and like he's been checking at camp, he's like, dang, the creeps keep spawning.
That's first blood. Yep, that sentry's not blocking it. But most importantly, Kezu, he's got more movement speed than the Phoenix does. Pexu, I like the play that he does. He dives to prevent the pull from happening so Charlie can keep farming. But what he doesn't realize is he's got no way of coming out. As soon as Lina appears, no chance for a TP out. You're just going to get cancelled by LSA. So Kezu runs him down, gets him a kill. Meanwhile, Charlie gets himself a free creep wave, but first blood is always first blood. It's a lot of dosh.
It is. And on top lane, Era's getting very low. He's going to survive this most likely. Yeah, there we go. But he has already scouted out the fact that the stacks are beginning to appear in this jungle. Celery is starting to work. He's a bit dewarding as well, making sure that this Alk has something to rotate into. And, well, Kezu is already building towards his first Aghanims. He's got his Soul Ring, that's literally all he needs.
That's all he needs, yep. And also Void just got pushed all the way back to Fountain. He's still running home, while Razor is farming in mid. Getting a tiny bit of an advantage for now, but yes, as you mentioned that Aghs, it is important that they do contest Kezu as much as possible, because all of these extra minutes are important, especially an early silence on the Void Spirit through the Aghanims can be deadly.
It's especially deadly for the supports. I think Chicken Fighters are very happy that they have two pretty tanky strength supports, so it's still going to be decently hard for Boom to burst them down.
And this is
well,
great.
We're not getting to that just yet.
Yeah, great from Chicken Fighters is what they're doing right now is pressuring mid, already down to 700 HP on this mid tier 1 tower. Big moves already happening. Celery forced to rotate to help, but at the same time, Shad is already feeling strong enough to solo lane against this ET. Both are now tied up in CS, around 30-35 on both. And only one kill so far on board as we're still sitting at the laning phase here. 7 minutes in. Lower bracket game with Chicken Fighters and Viking.
All of these scores
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I didn't expect to see this pair this early in the lower bracket, but a tournament's a tournament. Celery's gonna fall.
My steed. Your ashes
And that is most likely the fall of the middle tower as well. They can't really spare any resources right now. Aramis would really like to get an early level 6 on his bottom wave. Kezu, of course, is farming the stacks in the jungle right now. Shad helping him out. This is a bit awkward.
4 people coming towards mid. Hunting down Boom as they pressure this tower. Forcing some kind of reaction from Viking. But Viking, they ain't taking it. They're not taking it. Maybe Celery shows up in, but that's still not enough for any aggressive play. Just fills in the bottle for Boom. And this tower shall fall. That is the first tower kill of the game.
With very little resistance, but that's what Viking has to do in order to get these stacks out right now.
Ooh, Supreme pops his ulti. Celery is an easy pickings here. Hoping to get something more, but there's not really anybody around. Aghanim's still in the works while Boom is diving era. Needs to use one more jump to get the kill, but does he have any way to get out? Chronosphere from Charlie. We've got Supreme around as well. Dissimulate is available with the Remnant down. Jumps on the high ground, but Charlie gets the bash.
Couldn't have happened in the void.
A little bit opportunistic there, but yeah, he feels the need to do something because now all of these stacks in their own jungle are going to be contested. I doubt they're going to get much space anymore from Chicken Fighters. They have a ward down. They've got that middle tower as well, so they have a good new entrance into the jungle through here. And you can see, by the way, that Pexu is playing here, that they're really not about to let this place go anymore.
Yeah, I can imagine. Already mentioned it yesterday at the end of the series. Pexu's probably shot calling every single second of the game. That man is super devoted, super committed. Gets Kezu's courier as well on the way. But he's probably just yelling orders while he's trying to think of his own moves at the same time.
You can look at the minimap if you want to see those things, like who makes the calls. You look at who's drawing, who's pinging. Orange is Pexu. You're going to see a lot of orange on the map.
Yeah,
here.
there's a lot of orange going to be on the map for sure. Another tower about to be taken by Chicken Fighters, really forcing Viking to play defensive for now. They are not ready to take any kind of blunder yet. Maybe Shad can push some towers. He's going for Sanj and Yasha. I like this item choice instead of going for the casual shotgun build or any other type of like rushing butterfly or something, just because you know that you're tanky or strong enough to deal out damage. But Sanj and Yasha really looking at stretching into that tough right clicker towards the late game.
It's a bit more stats as well. In general, you're going to need that on the Morphling these days because, of course, you need mana to shift right now, which is one of the reasons that the E-Blade build has fallen off in popularity. You still see it sometimes, especially when the Morphling needs a really harsh power spike, but Viking already have their harsh power spike secured. It's what they're working towards. Is that Ags over on towards Boom. And it is very close to being finished, actually.
Hand of Midas coming for Elder Titan. Why not? Stretching for the late game security at least, so why not?
Yep, they know they have a little bit of time. This Viking lineup is going to take some minutes to get online as well, so they have that. And again, just like I said yesterday, this Hand of Midas makes sure that you get the most out of not actually taking creeps. You're just going to get a steady influx of gold and especially of levels, which is huge for Elder Titan, without taking a lot of things away from the rest of your team. So if you have the space to get it, which is very clearly given by Vikings lineup here, then yeah, it's one of the most cost-effective ways in order to be relevant throughout the game.
Void only has a Maelstrom picked up so far. Not really relishing on masses of farm so far, but that's fine. We're still very early into the game. He's trying to build himself up big. I think Supreme wants to be playing more aggressive. ET could join in with the Hand of Midas. Snapfire and Phoenix. It's kind of like a 4 Protect 1 for now, but I guess they don't have to.
Chrono.
They have Chrono, but they can do some risk assessment on should we just go on a straight up team fight, force the cooldowns. But while they have those cooldowns up, like while their spells are available, it's a mental threat for Viking to know that we can't make any massive plays because anything can happen. If they use those spells, they know that, okay, we have a little bit of free roam now. That's one TP cancel less and also a team fight threat less. Bexu snipes another Kezu Courier. That's maybe the third time this game already.
He was very
Man's
close.
on a
If he
mission.
would have gotten that one on the way in, he would have actually gotten the Aghanim Scepter. But instead, Kezu delivered his first to Boom, who will immediately show it off in the mid lane. Now the question is, what's he gonna do with this? I always said this one is conditional. This is the power spike. He's going to have to make something happen with it. This is a very scary game. That Chronos sits unused at the ready as a reaction. We haven't seen Mortimer's Kisses yet. We haven't seen an egg yet. And you bet it's all going to get dropped as soon as Boom makes a move. But they're going to go for it. Smoke up towards the top lane. This Elder Titan is very alone.
Yep, ET is a prime target. He's an offlaner for some decent money. 1300 HP. Not an impossibility to burst through. Boom. He's got an idea.
Yeah,
But
smoke
because
breaks.
Celery Smoke hasn't popped, they find him. They found the ET. Silence number 1. Silence number 2. And oh, Celery. You just had to get that missed call in the way, didn't you? Now they secure the kill. Yeah, they secure the kill. They get it. And don't be baffled by the net worth. Of course, Void Spirit is leading. He was just gifted an Ags. Nothing to see here. Move on. But Viking get themselves at least 1 kill on the board. And despite being 3k ahead in net worth, this is the Alchemist ad. So technically, I think they're a little bit behind Chicken Fighters.
I would say so, yes. Their Morphling is only barely ahead of Charlie over on the Faces Void. And Supreme, of course, is looking very strong right now as well. He's going to finish up a Sanjin Yasha pretty soon, and that's where he becomes extremely hard to take down, even with the extra silences coming out from Boom. It's just not going to last very long.
Smoke from
Here's the
Chicken
smoke.
Fighters, looking for the chrono play. Era's ready with the Mortimers, keeping the distance. Supreme coming in front. Kezu.
They have a
spot
medallion on the
him.
Snapfire.
But
They want to rush after.
but they also have an idea here. They've got Celery on their sides. They get the slow out on the Nova. Suck up some damage. Pop the ulti. Can't dive under the tower, though. Gonna let this one slide. 15 minutes played. 3-3 on the scoreboard. Viking playing a little bit from behind. They need time.
Radiant's bottom tower is being attacked.
They start getting some pressure throughout this bottom lane. Lina building towards an Aether Lens. Going to be able to throw out stuns from a much longer distance. Securing Lina's positioning in fights, which is going to be key. Getting the LSA stun on the Chronosphere Void is big. Meanwhile, they are
Cannot
chasing
afford to
Celery
be caught
again.
here.
He's got no ulti. He needs to be careful with that.
Chicken Fighters almost focusing on this top jungle to their detriment. Like, they're giving a lot of space over on the bottom side of the map. Now they've got Charlie on top. He's a hard catch.
He is. And now Chicken Fighters are coming in. They've got the stun on Boom. They could use the Chrono. Holding on to it. There we go. Pops it down. They have to damage the Mortimer's Kisses. Everything dropped on the Void Spirit to get a kill. They can't catch Celery, though. Mortimer's Kisses. Mortar range runs out. Abaddon still keeping the disengage. But at least Chicken Fighters, they find a big kill.
And this is kind of the fear factor that I was talking about. You can see Boom sitting around there. He's top of the net worth right now. You think that he could just grab his game and start moving it, start killing people, but he's always going to run into this Chronosphere. And it means that once he gets back here, after getting, well, finished off just now, he's going to have to make something happen during the time when the Chronosphere is down. Otherwise, Viking give up all of the chances at momentum that they have in this game. They can't create these chances on their own. Which other playmakers do you see around here? Lina does not have a Yule Scepter. She went for Boots of Travel on the support. And the Morphling is not quite ready yet. He's got a Sanjin Yasha. He could start playing up right now, but it's going to be risky. And yeah, that's what Viking are going to do. They're not content with sitting back any longer.
Yep, I agree with you. I like the idea of playing a little bit more defensive on the Lina build. Well, that Razor Bait, Illusion Bait works out perfectly. Boom has just revealed himself. Suspecting there might be more. They might just go Roche here. Very optimistic. That Razor Illusion is actually going to run out, but it will be close enough for Shad to turn into him. Grab 16 extra damage. They need to contest this one. Chronosphere down for 60 seconds. Tough one for Chicken Fighters to contest. They can throw the Spirit. They can drop down the ET ulti, which is actually on cooldown as well for 15 seconds. And boom, is going in. He's going to find the Phoenix. Pexu makes his way out with a couple hundred HP. Roshan down to 1400 HP. Might be able to take this one away from Chicken Fighters. Here comes Supreme, charging in the middle of the battle. Going for the Roshan, trying to get it for himself, and they will take the kill. But Shad will snatch the Aegis for himself. It's still a 5v5 with the egg about to pop. Kezu tries to get a disengage out of there, but they got the Remnant coming out as well. They get a nice stun out there from the LSA. Celery has his ulti popped as well as the ET throws his ulti in and keeps the Abaddon from escaping. Viking will lose 2. They get to keep the Aegis for themselves. It's on Shad. They want to get it off him. They really need to catch him. Can they? They don't see him. They don't know where he is. He's out.
Getting away with murder there, honestly. Going into the pit versus an ET Phoenix, even if the Earth Splitter is down, that is very, very dangerous. Snap fight it. Viking, honestly, they're positioning there, making sure that they push the Razor out of the pit, and then keeping most of the supports outside so they couldn't get stunned all at the same time. It was very necessary. He's dead.
14 HP. Boom's going to have to sacrifice himself to go back in. And no. Disaster strikes. Charlie gets an opening for the Chronosphere. This is kind of like a neutral item dropping down, but he has to get it so the enemy doesn't get it. But the Void is going to be in trouble. Just get the jump out just in time. Supreme still chasing on Boom will get the kill. Charlie on the run. Now the Celery ulti pops as well. Tries to heal himself up a little bit. Pexu coming in with the dive. There is Shad though. Right-clicking on the Razor. Trying to get some waveform damage. Celery will fall. Shad doesn't have the required damage to fight this Razor just quite yet. Kips, the moment a neutral item drops, you have to go pick it up. The enemy comes in and kills you. That was just the same type of moment. You have 10 HP after the Remnant. You just have to get that kill with the Dissimulate, and you end up being in the Chrono. Whew. That hurts.
It hurts. At least they didn't lose too much there, but the fact that you can see that they can't deal with this Razor anymore, he's just got SNY right now, but the BKB is going to come in fast, and after that, they need to have actual DPS coming out from Shad, and I don't think he's quite ready to stand in these fights yet. There is so much damage. He always has to be wary of the Elder Titan, taking away all of his armor, which is going to render him, well, I don't want to say paper, but pretty fragile. Once again, Viking waiting for a timing here. They're going to have to use that BKB onto Shad in order to get him to fight and have him bring the physical DPS that they're not going to get out of any of their other cores.
Yeah, if ever they want to try and kill this Razor, Morphling's going to need at least maybe triple the damage that he has right now. And that's basically looking at like a 15-minute Morphling with 6 slots and building into his own Aghanims and Moon Shards. So that's quite far away. But obviously, Razor's not the prime target to look at. They did have to deal a lot with Thompson's Razor yesterday. But that was obviously a different type of playstyle Razor. That was the super aggressive 1v4 Razor who draws attention and opening spots for OG. For Chicken Fighters, Supreme plays, well, he plays with the team, not like he goes in first and draws the attention, which could work in some point of the game because you have Chrono, you have ET, you have the Snapfire backing you up, so you could definitely just rush in alone. But Viking knows how to play against that. When they see a Razor coming kind of like with the team, it's a different adjustment.
It's a different story, yes. Now, the thing that I want to point out here is that Boom has nearly gotten caught up to by Supreme. And he got a free Aghanim Scepter. He is not actually having as good of a game as the Gold Graph suggests here. The team is suffering because, yeah, Kezu, he doesn't have anyone to give new Aghanim Scepters to either, so he's been building a pipe and now he's got a Blink Dagger. He's trying to start going back into that off-lane role.
Would it be funny if I say he's starting to provide for his team? Supreme, though, very alone. They know exactly what to do with a loner like that. Faces Void on the disengage. No opportunity for a turnaround with the Chrono. They just lost the Razor. They need him for the team fight. But a great play by Viking. If they see a Razor alone like that, they know exactly how to deal with it. They have very fresh memory of it.
They do indeed. Now, the X factor in these fights for me is Aramis Lina. She is actually extremely farmed for a pos 4.
Radiant's
And I have no
middle
doubt that
tower
he
is
could go into right-click damage as well if he wanted to.
Kezu trying to keep himself hidden.
Radiant's
Looking for the
middle
blink
tower
stun
is being
opportunity.
attacked. No more middle tower for Radiant.
Doesn't need to use it here, but I like watching the way that he's placing himself. He's just close enough that the enemy catches a glimpse during daytime that, oh, Alk is coming. Okay, stunned. He needs to be very far away, but he also needs to be in the spot to kind of prevent a side rotation, like a flank coming in, or a potential smoke play. So Kezu, you can find him in the most interesting places sometimes. Like, why is he here? He's got something on his mind. He's definitely in the places for a reason. It's not like he just ends up being there like, oh, you just planted a wild Kezu here. What do you do?
Intellectual player, that guy.
Celery in the enemy jungle. He's got more wards on him.
He is the ward. in
He's
fact.
literally the ward right now, yeah.
And
did
he's
place one
also
down.
a smoke breaker. Oh, are they gonna run into him?
Well, he's going to be a smoke breaker if he runs into these.
Vanished.
They're going to skip him.
Gone.
They're going to skip him. I like this. They're looking for somebody else in the back. Viking, maybe feeling a bit too comfortable. Shad is there. How do they kill this guy? They need the Void. They need the Chronosphere for it, but he's already moving out. So like, okay, let's just turn our attention back to this easy kill that we can get.
Consolation prize, well.
Consolation prize indeed. Good night, Celery. Yeah, if they had the Void closer, they would have definitely gone for Shad.
He was not smoked in that regard. Celery still saved Shad's life there.
Radiant's top tower is
They
being
could not
attacked.
bring the Void up there without him being spotted.
Well, even with that one gifted Aghanims in the team, Viking, they're still having that same gold lead. It's pretty even. Kezu, though, you've got nowhere to run. You can stun this Razor. You've got no damage left. Not that he's going to right-click anyway. Blinks out to safety. Maybe I assessed a little bit. I thought he might die because Chicken Fighters were coming in force, but none of them could actually catch up with the Razor.
That's one of the problems that they
Radiant's
have in
top
this
tower is
lineup
being attacked.
that I said
Lack
in
of
the draft
stuns?
already. This is this is very reactive. Ideally, Chicken Fighters get engaged into, and the problem has not gone away.
Dyer's middle tower taking
problem.
damage.
Problem, flavor.
Radiant's bottom tower
draft
Flavor,
has a
yeah.
reactive
You
flavor.
could put it that way.
Because we've seen that it's kept boom down for most of the game. This Void Spirit has killed, what, 2 targets? Both of them were Era, and he died for them both times.
Hey, if Liquid Enigma can win games with just 2 stuns in their draft, be my guest.
It's not comfortable. And you can see that by how much these two teams are maneuvering as well. Neither of them can really make plays, so you're looking for an overextension. You're looking to get the information that you have the space to make a play without getting punished. And that's why this game is so slow.
I just love seeing a random Celery in the enemy jungle time after time after time again.
What are you gonna do about him?
It's just a normal Abaddon player, a pos 5 player, would either one babysit, two be somewhere safe. This guy's not. Kezu gets the Son of the Razor,
BKB.
keeps Supreme away.
Supreme's not in any danger. No, this is very much Chinese Abaddon style. Except that Celery has a luxury here that, again, they have 2
And back he
stuns. Are they
goes.
gonna spend one of their stuns on this Abaddon? I don't think so. That's half of their stuns, dude.
That is half of their stuns. Maelstrom, SNY, soon a Scotty for this Faces Void. I feel like, did he just finish off a BKB? It looks like he does, so BKB Void can't be stunned anymore with that Chrono. Thing is, do you want to use both Chrono and BKB? Because BKB's importance after Chrono or pre-Chrono is pretty huge to be able to get that jump off in time. So do you use Chrono on a distant target and save BKB for the latter fight? However, they're running in for an ill surprise because Viking is coming in. Kezu looking for the stun. He's going to stun himself. Oh, no. Chicken, they're not taking it. Do they even? They didn't even see him there for a moment. Now they realize that
now.
Kezu's actually there. They didn't see him. Now he's gonna get caught by the cookie. He's got a stun loaded up. He's not gonna. He's actually gonna get it out on Razor, but a beautiful stomp of the backline. They're gonna catch Aramis with it and quickly deleted from the battlefield. Chicken Fighters. DD popped on this Razor, on the run, on the hunt. They're gonna pop Celery's ulti. Viking can't fight this. They're gonna have to give away 3 and a tower with no backdoor protection. They're going for Roche, I think.
They
Yep.
should be, yes. And neither of their BKBs got used there. This is a huge win for Chicken Fighters. The Viking, they have to wait. Boom needs a BKB of his own before he can actually go into these fights. You see, he was positioned on the flank all the time, looking for an opportunity, but one just didn't present himself. Cosmic Rush.
Roche falling now. 28 minutes. Secured for Chicken Fighters. Charlie shall grab it. They have the upper hand in this game right now.
This
Chad.
BKB has to be a turning point.
Yep. They haven't even used it. No need to use it yet.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Oh, sorry, I was talking about the BKB over on Boom. Because once
on
again,
Boom,
Viking
yeah,
is stuck,
yeah.
stuck in this corner where they're waiting for this timing. But then after they actually hit it, getting results out of it is conditional and will still require Boom to go into a Chronosphere, into an Earth Splitter, and coming out alive.
Chicken Fighters coming to defend this tower. Shad Aramis quickly disengage from this area. Charlie, though, on the chase. This is a difficult guy to catch. Shad is baiting him here. Chrono used. Try and kill this guy. Actually, he's doing quite a decent amount of damage with that ET ulti, but Shad, he's got Time Walk. He's popped the PKB off of Charlie. If they can get out of here, this is huge. If Celery can give us life, and that's still fine. That's 1 second of your BKB gone. Chrono BKB for an Abaddon kill.
That is how you buy space. That's, yeah, there's a price tag. It's an add-on, but
Yeah,
you'd
and it's a tier 1
gladly pay
tower,
for
but it's not the worst. Not the worst.
bottom tower is fallen.
Still, this is great. This is great for Viking though.
in a sense, I mean, we did see once again how fragile Shad actually is, and that he can't really go toe-to-toe with the Space's Void yet. So they are still waiting.
But I think the fragility that kind of showed up in there was the ET ulti, because it's still percent-based damage. So the higher the Morph goes out, like Morphling was at 4k HP, he would just lose like 1500 HP to one spell. And Supreme, this might be a big one for Viking. Maybe they can get something done here. Shad is soaking up the damage. The stun flies on Peksu. Very split. They're splitting on 2 different targets. Peksu gets the egg off. Shad in trouble. Shad's gonna fall. Chicken Fighters will find themselves 1. And now Viking are in trouble. They have to disengage from this one. They get the stun onto the ET. Shive will get hit by that Kezu. Gets the blink out to safety. There's a remnant in between. Celery, he's trying to look for an opportunity to cast a shield onto the Alchemist, but Alch ain't going anywhere. He's staying. He's falling. He's dead. Charlie finds a first hit bash onto Celery as well. Celery, no way to get back to the high ground. 3 heroes down from Viking. They couldn't kill either of those heroes. End up losing 3.
They don't have the toolset to go in. Listen, Boom just got his BKB. They were waiting for this. They were supposed to do something with this, and there was just no opportunity for him to get in without getting punished immediately by any of the AoE abilities over on Chicken Fighters.
Huge difficulties now as they're going to march straight towards the high ground. They've got the creeps coming in. Backdoor protection is off. All because of this one bloody catapult. It's the only creep in the base. So they will lose this tier 3 tower. See if they lose more. If somehow, if that Alchemist stun connected on the Razor, they might have been able to kill the Razor. But they were spreading their damage on 2 separate targets, making it a whole different fight. Charlie, though, Aegis is in trouble. Laguna Blade, the Silence comes out, and this coil will secure the Aegis kill. And they get more. At least they keep the range racks up, but it's a slight comfort. The melee racks is the more important one out of these 2. Chicken Fighters are out.
The biggest problem in the game for this Morphling is the Elder Titan. As soon as the ET is allowed to be on top of the Morphling with its natural order, it means that the Morphling gets shredded immediately. Losing all of his armor is huge. And they don't have anyone to build an AC here either. They're just going into BKBs to protect themselves right now. So there's nothing but base armor for the Morph. And the ET is tanky. This man's farm. He's got a hood, he's got a BKB. Echo Saber, he can survive in the middle of that fight. They can totally afford to cookie him in every single time.
It's also Satanic now. Up on the Razor. They smoke up, and Celery pops the smoke again. He has done it several times so far. Bash, bash, bash. Okay, the stump comes out. It's like hitting your head on a brick wall. But eventually the brick wall will give up. Don't try this at home, though.
I think if you keep hitting your head in a brick wall, there's probably not much in there to damage anyway.
Yeah. However, in the case of Viking, they're now very far behind. Only 5 kills in the last 33 minutes in this game 1. Chicken Fighters, however, I think they've managed. They've managed really well. They pressurized Viking when they were supposed to. The early game made the big difference here. The first minutes of pressure. And Shad gonna get chronoed up. He's only got 2.9k HP. And the ET ulti just slaps him in the face. Shibe gets the kill. Earth Splitter, that's about 900 damage that it just dealt there in one go.
Decent. This problem's not gonna go away.
No.
This is a problem with that Viking lineup. They were always going to give this Elder Titan time. I absolutely love this pickup for Chicken Fighters. It's really made their game
It will
so
definitely
easy to play.
persist. Persist and never desist. Supreme on the high ground. With his ulti popped. We'll finish off the range racks.
Viking feels fragmented to me. Like, several players are trying to get solutions for the problems that they have, but it all seems to be very individual. Boom has this BKB, but he hasn't really used it in the teamfights yet. He hasn't found an opportunity. Aramis has been playing his own game the entirety of this game so far. He's been split pushing. He's even getting some damage in on the mid tower right now. He's got BOT's Octary. Just all spell spamming, but he hasn't actually, like, he can't do that in the fights because he just dies immediately.
Yeah, but that's the same build that he played yesterday. Boom, gonna get stunned combined there by Era, but no big trouble yet. However, melee racks down, another lane of racks about to fall. What can Viking do? Chicken Fighters mocking them in their own base. Shad goes in. BKB popped by Shibe. Boom. Gets a little bit of spells used. And now Shad goes in. He just goes. He just goes in and he just explodes. Oh my god. Boom, though. Does he have any chance by himself? He's got his BKB up, but no. At least the Similar saves him for a second, but not long enough. GG's called. Very disconnected Viking here in game number 1. Chicken Fighters. Who would have guessed? They take game 1.
Excellently played by them too. They put Viking in this position where, you know, Viking wants to play aggressive, right? They know they weren't aggressive enough yesterday, and Chicken Fighters just say, fine, come at us. And you see Viking being locked in the struggle between we have an alchemist, so